still look like a ghost, but that's the way it is.
Wait, do you have a light on in front of you?
No, it's just a computer.
Hi, Janelle.
Your light. Oh, is Janelle the only one you see? Come back here. What's your husband's name? David, you got to say hi to all of us, not just.
You got to say hi to these people.
Hi to everybody. Hi, David.
Good to see you again.
I know. He thought it was embarrassing.
David, we love you. It's not embarrassing.
Yeah, we love you. They all think you're hot, David.
You guys have your supplies for the palate training.
I have some, but I don't have any lemons, so that's that's kind of
no lemon
yes.
or no lime, right? So you need lemon, 1 tea bag. You can use vodka or you can use vinegar, and then a teaspoon of sugar. So here is my tray.
What tray? No.
Oh, I don't have a tray.
The lemon or the lime, the tea bag, the vinegar, and the sugar. So if you have it, just show me your tray if you can. If you cannot, that's okay.
This is it.
All right, put it in a cup. Well, you can leave it like that. That's fine. This palate training session, I like to do this because we've been tasting wine. We've been deductively tasting wine, but a lot of times people don't really understand the difference between the acidity and the tannins, right? And so these things that we have, this is more so about the texture of wine than it is about the smell and the taste of wine, right? So when we add these to our wines, we're actually going to be looking at feeling the texture of the wines, all right? So you have all your ingredients, you have 5 glasses in front of you, right? What I want you to do is I want you to take first the lemon, right? Take the lemon, squeeze it into your glass, try to get as much juice as you can inside of that glass, right? So you should have 5 glasses, right? Pour about 1 ounce of wine in each glass. Just 1 ounce, just enough. Look at this, just enough to like have something that you can taste the stuff that you put in. So pour wine in each one of the glasses.
Including the one you did the lemon stuff in?
Yep, you have 4 glasses, right? The first glass is where you're gonna squeeze the lemon into that first glass, right? Squeeze the lemon. And then just throw the rest of the lemon inside the glass if you want to. So that's glass number 1. Glass number 2, you have the tea bag, right? So take the glass with the wine in it. It shouldn't have nothing in it but wine for right now. Then you're gonna take the tea bag and then you're gonna just drop the tea bag and then swirl it around so that it can get wet. So now we're gonna take wine glass number 3. You wanna pour a little bit of vinegar or the vodka if you have it. So you pour a little bit, like count to 1, 2. If you like alcohol, you could do an extra 3, right? So in glass number 4, that's where you're gonna take the sugar that you have, and then you just wanna put the sugar inside that glass, right? And swirl it up a little bit just so that it can mix in with the wine. And that's glass number 4. And so glass number 5, that's going to be your control glass. So glass number 5, you don't add anything to that glass. That's what you just go back to if you need to reset your palate, or if you so Nicole is just now joining us.
My brother's gonna be late too. I think he'll probably miss this piece.
So we're starting off with our palate trainings. All right, so you want to put each ingredient in each one of the 4 glasses, right? So in the first glass, I have my lemon. And basically, I'm going to take a sip of that wine. And I'm not sipping it to see how it tastes or how it smells. I'm sipping it simply to see how it feels in my mouth. What is the mouth feel? What is the texture, right? So take a sip of the wine that has the lemon in it. It's around in your mouth. Yeah, you can taste it. You can swallow it. It'll be totally fine if you swallow it.
Oh, tastes like sangria. Tastes like sangria.
Tastes like sangria, but listen.
That's like a sangria.
What does it feel like? I see.
Pucker.
I see the puckering. So what does it feel like, Laverne?
Oh my gosh, it's just lemon just like so dry and
Sour, right? So where do you feel this sour and where do you feel this puckering? Down below on the sides of your tongue, right? I mean, on the sides of your tongue.
Yeah. The roof of the mouth.
And you feel it on the roof of the mouth a little bit? Yeah. But it makes your mouth water, right? So it makes your mouth water, it makes you salivate, and the saliva goes right at the tip of your tongue.
Yeah.
And you feel it piercing, this sourness on the sides of your tongue. That's what acidity feels like. So that would be high acidity. There's actually some Sauvignon Blancs that have super high, and we call it racy acidity, right? So that would be an example of something that's high in acidity. So if you ever call something high, medium, or low, just think about this. This is going to be on the high end, right?
Uh-huh.
All right, so the next one that you're going to have is the tea bag. So everybody take a sip of the tea bag wine.
You left the tea bag inside?
Yep, you could just leave it inside, just leave it there. Dry, right? So this is immediately, say this is definitely dry. Even though it has some sensation of fruit in it, it's definitely dry, right? And where do you feel this wine? Where do you feel this wine?
I feel in the middle of the tongue, like that dries my tongue in the middle.
Yeah, in the middle of your tongue and in the back of your throat, that's where you feel
the back of my throat,
right? So tannins are the backbone for red wine. Like acidity is the backbone for white wine. You get the tannins from the skin, from the seeds, and from the stem of the grapes. You also get tannins from oak barrels. But the longer the grape juice sits in contact with the skins, the more tannins it will have, all right? And tannins is a good quality for red wine because it gives it its backbone. So the next thing we're gonna taste for is the alcohol in the wine, right? So everyone take a sip of their wine that have the alcohol in it.
That's nasty.
Back of my throat.
It is.
And on the roof of my mouth.
Try not to think about the taste, but you feel it in the back of your throat. It's warm, it's hot, right? Feels hot, feels warm. They loved the alcohol. They were like, oh, this made the wine so much better. I was like, you guys like a lot of alcohol, huh?
They were putting vodka in it, weren't they?
Not the vinegar.
Yeah.
You're going to feel the alcohol in the back of your throat, and it's going to feel warm. But that's high alcohol. Whether the vinegar or the vodka, that's what the high alcohol feels like, a burning sensation in your chest. You went ahead and you put that teaspoon of sugar in your glass.
Yes.
All right, now swirl it.
What is that like? A sweet wine? What is that like?
That's so sweet.
I think I mixed the vodka. Oh yeah, I put the vinegar in my sugar. Okay. So listen, that sugary wine, what's your impression of that wine? How does it feel in your mouth? It tastes sweet, right? There's no doubt about it. That is a sweet wine. You wouldn't say fruit forward, you would say sweet. And
the taste.
The difference between the taste, fruit forward is you're getting that sweetness from the fruit, right? But you don't feel like you're getting that sweetness from the fruit. You definitely feel like you're getting that sweetness from the sugar.
So when you talked about the sugar, where did you feel it in your mouth? I didn't do that because I didn't have all this stuff here, but where, those of you who had sugar in the wine, where did you feel it in your mouth?
And just it's kind of like at the tip of your tongue. Take another sip and see if you feel it at the tip of your tongue more so than anywhere else, right?
And then Tuanni, would this be the same thing if this is a red wine, but if we would do all of this same procedure with a white wine, would we still get the same thing?
Yep, you still would. So Carmenere is a grape that you can find pretty often, pretty available in Chile, which is in South America, right? It's a beautiful red wine usually. It can have some very earthy aromas, definitely some fruity flavors, and it's just delicious. So let's get started. How about we go and everybody tell me what they got? So tell me your wines. Let's start off with Linda.
I got a Chateau Los Buldos Carmenere, and it's a 2019.
I do too. I'm your partner.
Oh, all right. Thanks, Tina. I know. Congratulations. We'll see if we like it the same way.
I hope I do.
Me too.
And then Janelle, what did you get?
I got a Santa Carolina Chili Carmenere for state 2018.
Kim, can you talk now? Can she hear us?
Vista Mar Sepia.
Ana Kenya, something like that. Ana Kenya,
Oh, I haven't
Chile,
seen that one.
2019, Colchanga Valley.
I have Zuri Ribera's Gran Reserva Carmenere, 2018.
From Chile. Nice.
Correct.
I have Castillero del Diablo, 2019, from Chile.
I got a case of wine from her place when I retired, and I think I got up all the. Yeah, actually, it was the last of that reserve too.
A Terra Noble, I think it was.
So you like Carmenere. Nice. So
I am
what
now.
do you have?
I have 2019 Araucano Reserve from the Colchanga.
Araucano. Nice. And then, Rich, do you have anything?
I have Santa Rita from Chile, 2016.
I'm actually not drinking. I don't have a Carmenere, so I grabbed something close. I'm drinking a Malbec tonight.
Okay, that's
It's a 2019 from Argentina, Mendoza. Yeah.
from South America, same continent. All right, so let's get started. Let's just pose for a picture. Everybody say cheese. I've got the picture. So let's start tasting it. So everybody pour a little bit of Carmenere in your glass and then hold your glass up to the screen so we can see what it looks like.
I had to go buy some wine glasses, so I got a set of 4 for $5.
Nice.
Wow.
All right.
Right.
They must have
Those are
come
nice, too.
direct from Europe.
Okay, so look at that color, everybody. Thanks for holding it up against the white paper, right?
Yeah.
But look how deep, dark, and rich that color is, right? So would you say that, first of all, it's your wine. So everybody has a clear wine. What about the intensity of the color?
Definitely very, very dark.
Definitely the darker the intensity. Does the darkness go all the way to the rim or almost all the way to the rim?
Medium dark. I don't know.
Yeah.
It looks dark, but
Yeah, dark. I think medium dark is a good one. Medium dark or just intense. Yeah. Look down. Can you easily see your fingertips?
yeah, I can see that.
No. So it's definitely moderate to intense, right? So we have one person who says moderate, somebody else who says intense. Neither are wrong. Any signs of gas or bubbles?
I have bubbles.
It had some bubbles at first.
Let's swirl the wine. So let me see everyone swirl your wine.
Yeah.
There you go. Look like a happy swirler, you guys. Yes. Yay. All right. After you swirl your wine, you want to notice if there's any lingering legs or tears. That's what people call them. The lines that run up your glass and run down your glass. Those are called the tears. Anybody see the tears or the legs?
Just barely.
Yeah.
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 But I was expecting for you guys to say a lot of like tears because that's how you measure like the alcohol in wine, right? It just doesn't have a lot of alcohol, but the more alcohol, the more tears you have in the wine.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
That you've swirled it, now smell it.
A nice smell.
Nice?
Yeah.
Now would
Very
you the smell intensity matches the color intensity?
Mhm.
Does.
Yeah. Swish it around. Now you want to swallow the wine. All right, after you swallow it, let's swirl out again and let's smell it and tell me some of the things that you smell in the wine. Let's start off with some of the fruit, right? So when you smell this wine, do you smell dark berries, dark tree fruits, dark plums? What is it? Dark plums, right? Definitely some dark plums.
Plum, yeah, for sure, plum.
And maybe the plum skin, or maybe the whole plum, the skin and the flesh together.
Maybe currant. Could that be that dark?
Almost a little black cherry-ish kind of too.
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah.
I'm
maybe.
getting some earthy leather and other earthy
I
stuff.
was gonna ask about that leather tobacco, right? Yes. I always say that this smells like a freshly paved street for me. So no, but it's in a good way. It's not in the bad way. Or maybe like after it rains on the
Oh, there you go. Oh, dirt road. Okay.
dirt, but it's asphalt. It's like I'm a city girl, so like like it doesn't rain that often in LA, and when it does, that black the asphalt, it just smells because the smell is just steaming up. So
Initially, dark chocolate.
I was just gonna say I'm smelling dark chocolate as well, Nicole.
Good. I can smell it now. I knew there was something I was missing. That's good.
So now, what about do the fruits smell ripe or underripe? Do they smell fresh or dried fruits?
Kind of ripe.
Definitely
right,
right.
yeah.
I don't know if I'd go to dried, but close to that anyways, right?
Close to dried. So maybe just overripe fruit, like
Yeah.
overripe fruit, but not dried fruit. All right.
Yeah.
Now, when you tasted the wine, what did you taste? Tell me if the taste profile was as intense as the smell profile. So when you smelled it, the intensity was like, how was the intensity? Did you guys get a lot of aromas?
Yes.
Definitely didn't get that tea bag.
I know. I was just thinking the same thing. A lot of tannins, man.
First of all, does the wine taste sweet or does it taste dry?
Right.
Now, the acidity in this one, because red wine also has acidity in it. So the one that we tasted with the lemon is 100% acidity.
I don't feel a whole
A
lot.
little bit, not too much.
Not too much, okay. On the base, like on the sides, the base of your tongue, when you taste it and you swallow it, what does the finish feel like? Is it a long finish? Is it a short finish?
You're kind of long finish.
Medium.
Mine feels medium.
You can feel it going down your throat. I think it's long too.
Okay, so long. We're gonna say medium plus to long finish.
Yeah, medium plus.
So not the alcohol burn, not the texture of the wine. It's totally different.
And will the finish be different? Like if we've talked about sniffing or drinking your wine with, I think it like you're breathing it and drinking it at the same time.
It's kind of like when you're in elementary school, your nose is connected to your mouth and your throat. And so basically when you're tasting wine, the goal is to get all the aromas up to your nasal passage, right? So how do you do that? Through your mouth. Definitely when things are in your throat, you're breathing and you're breathing out of your nasal passage. So that's why you can still get those flavors and those aromas, right? And so that's why I say it's all about the aromas that you still smell. And I say taste because you know what, like most of what you're tasting is just your aromas. Like people use taste and aromas interchangeably. But when you swallow it and those flavors are still there, that's the finish. Does that answer your question? Okay, perfect. And so then you had all of that, right? So we talked about the acidity, and you guys said the acidity. What did you guys say about the acidity? Did you say it was medium? Medium to low or low to medium? Which one?
Low to medium.
Medium.
Low to medium. Okay, so if somebody just said medium, then we're gonna leave it low to medium because you hit that medium, right? So then you said the tannins were medium plus. That's what I thought I heard somebody say.
Yeah.
Okay, and so then we agreed that it was a dry wine and it didn't have any. Did you guys taste any residual sugar in it? Did it taste like it had residual sugar?
No.
Was that wine well balanced? So at the bottom of it, you have, that's where you're gonna have the acidity and the tannins. There you go. Thank you, Rich. Not the bike. The acidities and the tannins, right? And then on this side of it, you're gonna have flavor. You're gonna have the flavor. I call it sweetness, but I definitely mean flavor, right? And then on this side of it, that's where you're gonna have the alcohol. And that's the reason that we all drink wine is because of the alcohol, right? So did all those flavors work together to make this wine yummy, or did one thing stand out more so than the other?
For me, the tannins are a little overpowering to the other two, because that's kind of what I taste at the end. I mean, it's a long finish and that kind of thing. And it tastes good, but the aftertaste and the tannins in my mouth is a little more than I prefer.
That's an indication that you might have to decant that wine for like 45 minutes, right? If you feel like the tannins, and to describe that, you can say, you know what, the tannins, it was a well-balanced wine. However, the tannins seemed a little bit assertive or aggressive, right? Or could you say it was balanced, but the tannins were assertive?
Definitely assertive.
Yeah,
But I don't know. It might be a little bit off balance too. I think.
Okay, so you could say, yeah, I think it's a little bit off balance. The tannins were definitely aggressive. I would suggest you aerate it, decant it, and then you try that wine again, right? So when you go back to it tomorrow, if you have it in your fridge, You'll know that the tannins have kind of just settled down. They're not like having a tantrum anymore, and they're well integrated into the wine.
I think I agree with Linda. Missing a little bit of the sweetness that I would wanted, but I love I love tannins, so it is a little heavy on the tannins, but just a little sweetness, if you could pick that up, would be a little more balanced.
So, Rich, would you say that it was earthy though? Would you say that? Because sometimes, like, if a wine is very earthy, it's not going to have that sweetness. Like French wines. French wines don't necessarily have that California sunshine, developed fruit, so they're a little bit more earthier, right? I appreciate your comment. I agree with that. But that lets you know, too, that this is an earthy wine. So if somebody said to you, if your friends, oh, I want an earthy wine, then you can say, okay, here's the wine that you got, right? They said they wanted a fruit-forward wine. You definitely would recommend this one, right?
I'm finding this really pretty well balanced, and I'm liking this wine. It's a nice combination of, it's smooth. It almost feels, the texture almost feels smooth. It's got a nice aroma, and it's kind of got a combination. The flavor is nice with the chocolate, which to me is a little sweet, semi-sweet, if you will, but the chocolate and the combination of the chocolate with a little bit of the alcohol. And the alcohol is not overpowering, so it's got a nice finish. But I'm finding this one to be very well balanced.
You sound like such a professional. I love it. And I love the way she described it, because she described it in a way that, you know, the reason that she said that it was balanced and the reason that she said that she liked it too was she was describing the complexities of the wines, right? So it wasn't just basic, it wasn't monotone. You know, it had some highs, it had some lows, and yes, very good job, Cindy. Do you think that the wine is a poor wine? Anybody want to say it's a poor wine? Now remember, you pretty much only give poor wines when it's just totally off balance. When it's just like the alcohol is up here or the tannins, you can't even drink the wine. That's when you say, okay, this is a poor wine. So no poor wines, right? Well, what about acceptable? Would anybody say, oh, their wine is just acceptable? Nicole M says good. Kim says good.
Between,
maybe.
Very good.
Okay.
Tina, I want to know what you think, because we're drinking the same wine. What do you think?
It is dry, but I do like it.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to how it will taste tomorrow, because the tannins are very strong, but I am enjoying it.
When those tannins calm down. So listen, when I did my wine tasting on Sunday, I had a German guy, because I did my first wine tasting in my apartment in Cape Town, and this guy was from Germany. And so when I got to the part about would you call this wine sweet or dry, he was like, wait a minute, what are you talking about? And apparently calling a wine sweet or dry is an American thing. They don't really do that in Europe, because they assume that all wines are dry. Like, you know, which most wines are dry. Like when you get a sweet wine, you want a sweet wine. You say, can I have a sweet Riesling or whatever, right? But most of the times when you order a wine, you order a Cabernet, it's going to be dry. So he didn't understand why Americans say, I want a dry wine from a waiter, because what else are they going to bring you besides a Cabernet Sauvignon? So if we got into this big conversation about that and about how Americans use sweet and dry to describe their wines. But yeah, so this one is definitely dry. Definitely, I feel like if you don't, I love the tannins. That's why Carmenere is one of my favorite grapes. But if you're not a big fan of tannins, or you just want to see how the tannins change in your glass, just put it in the fridge and try it tomorrow or 2 days later. So we said good wine, right? Anybody said a good wine or a very good wine? Good?
Yes.
Right on the border. Yep. Pretty good.
Okay, good. On the border of good and very good. That's what I'm gathering. It's good to very good wine.
Very good. Very good plus. I like this one a lot.
It's one of my favorite grapes. I just love Carmenere. There's a really good one that they make here in South Africa. All right, so now let's just talk about your personal preference of the wine, right? So, for example, Linda could be saying, well, I agree, it's a good wine, but it's not my thing. The tannins are too high, so you know what? I'm gonna ghost the wine, right? That's what Linda could say. I'm not saying that that's what she's saying, but you don't always have to be in love and want to marry or want to have a relationship with a wine or a person that you don't necessarily like. But it could be a good person, but you could just be like, that's just not my person I want to hang out with, right? Same thing with wine. So who wants to go first and tell me if they would ghost this wine, friend zone this wine, second date this wine, make it a boyfriend, girlfriend, or marry the wine?
I think I'd second date it.
Yes.
Yeah, I do believe that tannins are definitely prevalent here. And I'm not tasting other than as much on the other side, as much on the balance of the sugars that are offsetting the tannins. So, and that, again, maybe overnight, that'll work.
So is it second date curious because you want to see what's going to be like?
Yeah, second date curious, what more to come?
Okay, I can dig that.
I agree with Janelle. I'm looking forward to, and you said 2 days, so I'm going to see in a couple of days.
I think you guys will be pleasantly surprised. All right.
I'm gonna second date mine tomorrow, and I'll let you know.
Yeah. Let me know.
I think we would second date ours as well, but I kind of been cheating over here because I made a little cheese plate with some chocolates and some sausage and things of that nature, and I'm eating it with it, and it tastes amazing.
Amazing. Definitely food. That's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up because, sometimes even when you're like, oh, it's too tannin, but if you have it with foods like a nice steak, some dark
I think that's going to be true too.
Some cheese.
I want to go to your house.
Yeah. Adopt me, please.
I see Kim said she would friends of the wine.
I want to also have it when she was talking about food. When I smell and taste this wine, I taste a lot of like bell pepper.
I can see that, yeah.
And I want to eat something and drink this at the same time.
Yeah.
Something that goes well with bell pepper.
So tomorrow, just cook something like Melissa said with bell peppers. Have something like that. Maybe a nice steak, or no, peppered steak. You know how you make the bell peppers and the onions and the steak together? That would probably go really well. I'm just reading the comments on the slide.
I think I would boy toy this wine, or I would, whatever.
That's a new one. Though. She just went up a very much new boy toy wine. I like it.
All right.
I like it.
Still play around with it.
I didn't want to marry or do friend zone. I like that one.
Yeah.
I like boy toy the wine.
All right.
See if it turns out to a man toy instead of boy toy, right?
That's the first one I heard like that. And you know what? What year is that one? Maybe you use that term for something that's young that you just need to lay down. You just boy toy the wine. I love it. We're going to have our own language by the time this is done.
Wow.
I like the boy toy, man toy. I was thinking I don't want to marry, but I'll cohabitate for a little while.
I'm with you.
Let them move in. All right, move in.
You're gonna high rise.
I like keeping our options open. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
All right. So any more questions about the wine or any more questions about the palate training?
I love the palate training. That was
the palate training was very interesting.
It really is wonderful.
Larissa, let me know if you want to do it for your event. When we have your event, we can start it off with that.
Yes, that would be nice.
Yeah, that would be fun. Nice. On the invitation or maybe an email reminder, just tell them to grab the stuff from the kitchen that they should have.
That was helpful.
When we promote that in Instagram, Larissa, we'll have to put on that there'll be a palate training.
I know you are busy. I am following you on Instagram. You are all over the place.
I know. I'm like, I have to really schedule sleep time. So yeah. Oh, she said, Kim, do you mind if I share? She sent it to me privately, but do you mind if I share it with the group? So she said she finally got around to putting together her wine aroma kit. So I don't know how many people are working on there. So these are the most cost-effective sizes, but these are the wine aroma kits. And I really feel like you can just build it gradually and have as many aromas as you want. The one behind me, that's my wine enthusiast one that I paid over $300 for years ago. There you go. Kim is showing hers. What is that? Is that black pepper? White pepper? Yeah. So there you go. I love it, Tina. She started hers. So I don't know if you guys, maybe you guys I didn't tell you, or maybe I did it on Instagram. But
cinnamon.
I have a PDF. that just shows you like what to do, how to do it, some of the most common aromas, and I can share that with you guys if you want me to, the PDF.
Nice.
But this one is like dried cranberries, like you would smell that in Pinot Noir. This is vanilla, so it's just, and the whole purpose of it is just to get used to smelling them on your own. So then when you smell them in the wine, you'll be able to identify them, because it's all about memory. She said she has cinnamon, pink salt, and cloves. Yeah, cloves is a good one. I have cloves.
That's good.
But I will share that to you. Just share that with you. Just let me know. All right, so next week we are going to taste champagne with a capital C, right? And I purposely did this. I didn't make a mistake. I didn't say sparkling wine. I didn't say MCC. I didn't say cava. What I said was champagne with a capital C. So that means that it has to come from the Champenois region in France. It has to be made in the Champenois method, or the traditional method. No rosés, but it can be anything from a brut to a brut natural to a extra dry to a sec. So it could be any of those styles, just no rosé. And it has to be from France. It has to be from the Champagne region in France, all right? So Champagne is next week. You guys have any questions before then?
Explain the brut, extra brut, and that means that it gets more sweet.
Well, so it goes two ways, right? So you can have, like, let's say you just have brut, right? Brut just means that it's dry. And they have in Champagne, they have a way of measuring the sugar, right? The residual sugar. So brut might have 0.002 residual sugar. But then if you go on this side of the spectrum, you're going to have brut de natural, which means that it's, oh my God, it's so dry. There's no residual sugar. It's like when you taste it, it's just going to be like very, very astringent in your mouth, right? So that's on that side of the spectrum. But then on this side of the spectrum, it gets sweeter and sweeter, right? So you might have brut, but then after you have brut, the first step into sweetness for a champagne is going to be extra dry. So whenever you see extra dry, that does not mean it's going to be on this side of the spectrum. That means it is going to be on the sweet side of the spectrum. It's so confusing. So extra dry is going to be your first entry into sweetness for champagne. And it's not going to be super sweet, but it's going to be your first interest into sweetness. It's not going to be as dry as a brut, but it's not going to be as sweet as like a sec or a demi-sec. So then you have extra dry, then demi-sec, sec, and douce. And there's another one. I don't know what's the other.
D-O-U-X, right?
D-O-U-X, yeah. I don't know if there's
kind
some
of mellow. That's what it means, calm and mellow.
So, but that's how it goes. So if you want a champagne that has a tiny bit of sweetness, that's not sweet but has a tiny bit of sweetness, I would do an extra dry. The regular one is just brut. It's just fine. I like brut myself.
Yeah. Well, Cindy and Rich and I drove through Champagne and we didn't stop at all to try and do any tastings.
Are you serious?
But we did do some at other places, but we didn't do any there.
You guys didn't want any bubbles? No way. Huh? Whose decision was that?
Well, Richard and I were driving, and then the other two, Linda or Sandy, were directing. So Richard and I were just going wherever they said to go.
Oh, yeah, she's blaming us now.
Wait a second. What I'm hearing
it's never Cindy's fault.
What I'm hearing is, this is what I heard. I heard that was a team fuck up.
We all went over for Linda's 60th birthday. So the four of us siblings all traveled to France together for her birthday, and we drove around the entire. Drove
very much an honor, and I think it was a really fun time too.
Let us know when you guys put something on the schedule, because some of us members might want to meet you guys in Champagne.
Right. That would be awesome. There you go. Saying as well, we did. We had a lot of opportunities for wine, so that's for darn sure.
And we took them.
We took every opportunity.
Well, the French love sharing
every lunch had to have fruit, bread, and wine. That's all you need. And sometimes maybe a little bit of jambon or something once in a while, but didn't even need that.
Cheese, yes.
All right.
See you guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Janelle.
Bye.
Bye, Larissa.